Welcome, folks, to the Points to Ponder podcast. This is your host, Mike. My point to ponder for today. All right. So, why do some people feel like they just don't fit in? We've been there. We have friends, family, acquaintances that all fall in that category. And I'm going to start today with a quote from Steve Jobs. Quote: "Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs and the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them, but the only thing you can't do is ignore them because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius because the ones who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who do." End quote. So, folks, we live in an age where people are more open about asking that question about why they don't fit in and being okay with it. From the research that I've done on the topic, it appears that most psychologists, just from my research, believe that people don't fit in based on the following four factors here. Okay, so I'm going to list them out. First factor would be people who don't fit in have completely different interests, like hobbies, favorite music, movies, like the gossip. Those are all just examples. Fishing, you can throw that out there. People that don't feel like they don't fit in have completely different values. And you can use examples like integrity, honesty, hard work, compassion. Okay. The third factor would be that people that don't fit in believe they have completely different beliefs or belief systems. And examples would be politics, how kids should be raised, or how families should spend their money. Those are all examples of belief systems, right? And finally, for the fourth factor, many of these psychologists believe that people that don't fit in have a mental illness. So I can look at this list and identify meaningful connections that I've made with people based on just one of the first three factors. For example, for interest, the first factor, I'm a writer myself who has published a couple of fiction novels and two short stories, from which I've won a few awards. I'm currently reviewing a manuscript from someone with whom I share a similar writing interest, and we have a connection there just based on that interest. For the second factor, values, I have a fellow teacher with whom we share similar values. All right, we both believe in integrity. So based on our value that we share of integrity, we're able to have a solid working relationship. And we may have different interests and beliefs, but we share the same values. And from that, we have a meaningful connection. For the third factor, which is beliefs, I share similar business and managerial philosophies with my neighbor Tim. Now, on the other hand, as a point of humor, I call my neighbor Purgatory Tim because his values can be a bit murky at times, and we're not aligned in that aspect. In fact, if there was ever a need for someone to be put in charge of Purgatory, Tim would be your man. So before we proceed any further, people can have a meaningful connection with someone if they share just one of the first three factors that I listed. That makes sense. The more factors that you share with someone else, the more meaningful connection you will have with that person. I mean, all of my best friends, we each one of us together, we share each one of those the first three factors that I listed, all the way down the board. So where I disagree with these four factors is with the fourth factor itself, which refers to mental illness as preventing people from fitting in. I would, if I had my say on this, I would personally remove mental illness from the list and replace it with those who are highly intelligent as not fitting in. I know many right now are probably thinking, oh, what does that have to do with not fitting in? Well, highly intelligent people are quickly mislabeled as introverts, standoffish, or just simply anxious people. The Mensa International is the Society for People with High IQs. Okay, so Mensa states that approximately 2% of the population is considered highly intelligent, which is a staggering minority. So why would highly intelligent people not fit in? So Jeff Hayden from Inc.com, he goes on to suggest, quote, science says people who socialize more tend to be happier, right? Makes sense. Relationships, friendships, connections, spending time with people we enjoy, all that makes us happier. But that's not completely true if you're highly intelligent. If that's the case, socializing with friends will actually not increase your level of satisfaction with your life. Here's why. When researchers followed people between the ages of 18 and 28 years old, they found that most of the people socialized, the happier they were. But not the subset of people in the study who were highly intelligent. The more they socialized, the less happy they were. So Jeff Hayden goes on to say that researchers present a few theoretical arguments to this. Number one, highly intelligent people no longer need social groups for food, shelter, protection, etc. Number two, he says highly intelligent people are so focused on long-term goals that they don't have time for socializing. These both seem just, far-fetched. They don't seem in grasp with today's highly intelligent people. So this is me. This is Mike. I disagree with this, and here's my argument. The 2% socialize less because the 98%, the normal people, don't have enough to offer the 2%. Now, this has nothing to do with arrogance or self-importance of the 2%. The 2% simply need more to be satisfied. All right, the 2% are creators, they're inventors, they're problem solvers. Just like Steve Jobs said in the opening quote that I used for this podcast. All right. So gossip, unnecessary conflict, unnecessary meetings, disorganization, inefficiency, and small thinking are incompatible with the 2%. These things are painful for them. If you watch it from their eyes, it's like watching a bad movie. In the description for this podcast, I'm going to leave everybody a link to www.davidsongifted.org, where you're going to find numerous comments from the 2% about their painful experiences being a minority. So that's almost it for today, folks. I'm going to end this episode with two quotes. The first quote is from Carl Jung. And for most of you who don't know who Carl Jung is, he was a well-known psychiatrist and psychoanalyst. So I'm going to start here. Quote, loneliness does not come from having no people about one, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to oneself, or from holding certain views which others find inadmissible. And for the second quote, this is from Bertrand Russell. Quote, the fundamental cause of the trouble is that in the modern world, the stupid are cocksure, while the intelligent are full of doubt. Folks, as always, thank you for tuning in to Points to Ponder. This is your host, Mike, signing off. Take care.